We founded Supreme Autoglass in 2020. We're a 2-person team. We're together 25 hours out of the day. Since we founded Supreme Autoglass, we've always used Seeker products. So we put our trust in them and our clients trust us. Being able to use a product that's primerless to glass, we save a lot of time and money not having to activate the frit, letting us install more windshields in a day for more profit for our small business. The gunability that PTG Premium has is far superior. It has a short cutoff string and the decking is also a lot firmer, so you don't have to worry in the summer when we set the glass that it's gonna ooze out of the sides. Choosing a premium adhesive is the insurance that we have to make sure the customer is safe and the bond is unbreakable.
So hey Larry, how's it going? Not bad,
Doing
right?
good, Gary. Always
Dylan?
good to see you.
Yeah, so I've heard North Carolina's had some pretty good business this year, and that you're back to war with South Carolina, and like there's all kinds of like shops that are on border lines, and then you come in with your SEO and you like guerrilla tactics on them, and then you just take over their city with your name somehow, and like all of a sudden you're like multi-state or something. Like, is that right? What's going on down there with the
I've
Impact?
taken over. No, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I just, people send me things. I get screenshots of like you're in Bladdersville, North Carolina now, and I'm like, is that a city? And then I have to like go look it up, and you got like a cute little like video that's playing or something. You're doing some SEO, man. It looks like you've got.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's all in house too.
yeah, I mean, I think I see Impact's name come up anytime I'm VPN connected in. I don't know why I'm VPNing in your state, but it there's Impacts. Yeah, no, I'm actually part of what we do is we want to make sure when we go state by state, when shops report allegations of steering, we actually will go in acting as if we're in their state, see if we get the same messages and whatnot from certain national competitors that have their stuff online. So
yeah, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, especially like if you're looking at like your Google listing or whatever, if you're not actually in the market, sometimes it'll display differently. A lot of people don't have the comprehension of that.
Yeah, you'll get a web guru who's based in, I don't know, Idaho, and then they do a Google search for your state and go, see, you're not even on this list. But then if you were actually in that state, it's an entirely different thing. So, but speaking of, I started to see you posting, was it the AGRR magazine link a couple weeks ago? And I'm like, man, did Larry buy a media company and I didn't know about it?
Yeah,
And
you
he's
put
like,
up
now.
stock in it. No, I did not buy any stock.
And then I was like, wait, I better go read this because there's some reason that Larry is actually now like all up in this. And lo and behold, holy moly, there is Larry's photo right down here. I know it's hard to see. That's Larry. And let's see, I'll go ahead and make this full screen for a second. Larry's right down here. And why is Larry down there? Larry, why are you down there? What is this? What are you doing?
I was asked to join a panel.
A panel? All right. Let's dig into this.
Not a panel.
Well, we don't know yet. We're going to see.
I don't know. It may not be a panel. It may be a pain. I don't
know. So there's a couple different ways this can go. It could be a panel where each one of you. Now, in all fairness and transparency, I understand that these educational programs at Autoglass Week are subject to change as far as like who's on the panel and what the content of the panel is. I think it might be in the general area of it. I may be wrong. Again, this is what typically sometimes has happened in the past and may be happening. But Larry, your time slot is 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. next Tuesday, September 9th. Beautiful day, September 9th in Reno, Nevada. You're probably just shaking off that early to late breakfast with your supplier, and you're like, I gotta kick the dust off of my learning here and go hear what Larry has to say, minus or plus 1 or 2 F-bombs. I saw you post that as well.
Yeah, there will be no F-bombs.
Okay.
Go ahead and
Now,
bet on that.
now, did you sign some kind of form saying that
Yeah.
every one that you did drop, you owe somebody like a lot of money or something, like a swear
$100,
jar?
like when you're gonna self-promote? No. There's no forms being signed.
Hey, I just remembered the length of the time I had to spend editing our last podcast together, and it was extreme. Without AI, I would still probably be editing it to this day. You know, over the weekend, I was inspired. I was like, wait, MGM Bet is advertising that you can come on and create your own sub betting structures now, and I was like, this is
Oh, I didn't
fascinating. I
see
think
that. That's great.
oh yeah, it's you know they're suffering. Their stock's down, so they got to come up with a way to keep fleecing people out of their money. Yeah, we digress, but let's talk about September 9th. You were on a panel called "Can the Autoglass Industry Be Saved?" And I am sure a lot of people will be showing up. Now, I do want to let everybody know watching before we hear Larry's take on this. Get there, get your seat between 8:45 and 9 a.m. for this panel or presentation or whatever it's going to end up being. The reason is a couple. One, people are going to start filling in during this session to make sure they have a great seat for the keynote speaker. We saw this happen last year with Gary Vee. People showed up for listening to something about something that didn't end up. That's why I say these programs are subject to change as far as the content. What was presented wasn't what the guide said. It was worse than watching paint dry. And but because they knew Gary Vee was coming in, and you didn't want to be in the back of the room with Gary Vee. So with that being said, show up, make sure you're done with your breakfasts, whatever you've got going on that morning, because I'm not sure how many of you are gonna be getting up early to have coffee at 7:30 a.m. with Troy Mason. If you are, leave some comments below. I don't know, Larry, are you gonna get up at 7:30 to have coffee with Troy?
What kind of coffee is it? I mean, I'm gonna need some fancy coffee.
I'm okay. I will say this. I doubt it's gonna be a Dutch Brothers, Starbucks, teeny coffee. I don't think it's gonna be any of that. It's just gonna be like conference coffee in one of those military brown jugs and creamer that survives with cockroaches during the apocalypse. I think that's
That sounds
safe
about
to
right.
say. Yeah. So for me, that's not enough to get me out of like if somebody said, "Hey, Hart, you can have the new Cortado Starbucks triple shot," I'd be like, "Oh, I'm there," because then I'd be cracked out to talk to Troy. So, but if that's your thing, if you want to get up and start your day at 7:30, that's in meeting room A7, and everything here on this guide that I'm showing you, that is all in the AGRR magazine, digital online. You can go find that out. It's also the schedule and everything is at autoglassweek.com. So, and I believe there's an app that I guess we'll start getting access to shortly. All of that's on there. So just use all the tools that are there. But Larry, can the autoglass industry be saved? You are on this panel. What are you going to say there? Are you going to say it's going to be saved, or is it tanked? Are we done?
I'm gonna pull a Democrat. You got to show up to hear what's in that. Kind of like you got to pass the bill to find out.
Now, so I know you don't want to give anything away, but are you planning on having like something so earth-shattering to say that people should stay all the way through the end of your panel?
Well, everything I have to say is earth shattering or troll.
Well, so that was one of the bet lines as well on the MGM thing we started to put together was, would Larry say something that would just cause further trouble? Because, you know, there's rules and regulations of what you can and can't say. There's like no anti-competitive stuff. You can't jump up and talk about prices and all that happy fun stuff. I just figured at the end you would just say, hey, look, if you don't have my company's name on your business, you're doing it wrong. And then everybody be like, what? I'm supposed to be Impacts? Yeah, I don't know. But just given the nature of the industry in general, I've seen from time to time, we've posted some things and you're like, hey, that doesn't affect me. Like State Farm. I know people got sick of seeing other shops post about State Farm, but when their businesses relied on State Farm more than 30%, that kind of impacted them. But I know, like in your area, or for you, State Farm wasn't that big of a deal, correct?
Now
I
I'm
mean,
doing a lot of State Farm, so it doesn't make any sense. It was suggested to me. It was sort of suggested that maybe I was blackballed at Lynx, and I kind of wonder if that was the case, because how would I have no work? It goes to Safe Light, who's supposed to take all the work, but now I'm getting all kinds of work. It doesn't make any sense. I haven't changed
interesting.
nothing at all.
Well,
I'm getting
well, so
5 to 6
have
times the amount of the work or more.
you haven't changed like your marketing or SEO, none of that stuff has increased since June, the end of June. Yeah, has
No,
it all remained the same? Yeah.
it's all the same. And we never target insurance ever. I never target
Interesting.
insurance.
Interesting. So,
It's
I
very,
mean, and it could be, they could have, you could have been at the bottom of the rotation pool that just
yeah,
never
I think
got
it
down
was
there.
more like thumb on the scale, is what I'm thinking.
Speculating.
And
We're not sure.
of
It's
course, we're
possible.
speculating. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, it was suggested to me, and it does seem a little odd that I got nothing, and now I'm getting all kinds of work, and I don't have any friends at Safe Light. They're all dead. Tom Reed, I didn't know, died, and Hitler mustache guy died. I didn't know that either.
Oh man, look
Um,
at it.
what was
All right,
his
now.
name? Dave McFadden. I was buddies with him. I had no idea the guy passed away.
Wow. So you feel that there's some room got cleaned out, and you're just like you're you're in this list. You're in the zone
Yeah, I think I was
somehow.
definitely on the blacklist at Lynx.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a shame. But in this case, I mean, so you're an outlier because there have been other shops that have kind of reported the same that you've said is like, hey, I went from having no State Farm business to all of a sudden having State Farm business. And the interesting part is other shops in some of those markets, they were like, I've lost some of that business for some reason, or their name just simply doesn't come up either in the State Farm app or when you call in Safe Light, it's like, oh, you're not an ONA participant. So I mean, that's one of those things. And as it stands, I mean, there's just not that. I mean, has any of the tariff stuff hit you yet? Like worse?
No, not really. Some of the stuff that's hit me, like with take for example, I'm not going to name any companies because I don't want to make any enemies. However,
No,
I will
not
say
you.
that if you raise my price 200% and then you say, well, it's tariffs, and then I look at the glass and it's coming from FYG USA, I got to question that. I really, really, truly got to question that. It's like, okay, so the moldings are falling off the glass and there's all kinds of defects. And it's like my tech calls me and I'm like, let me guess, FYG USA. How can it be? How can we make such shit glass in America is just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I mean the America First thing has a long ways to go, in my opinion. I mean, we were just never keyed after World War II for manufacturing. We basically were like, let other countries pollute themselves and give it up. And country of origin is an important thing going forward. I think in full transparency, it's one of the things the IGA is looking to pick up here coming soon, which is dealing with this, saying on a tariff basis, because even if you're buying glass and it comes from Turkey, there's a difference in Turkey's tariffs with the United States versus China and versus elsewhere, Mexico. And does it fall under the North America Free Trade Agreement? Do the materials, the silica, things like that. It's just a whole thing, but we want to make sure that at least in our industry, country of origin is being addressed this on the supplier level and the manufacturer level. So that's something that you'll see from the IGA coming out. But you do mention, a couple things that is interesting that we're still peeling back. We put out our NAGS analysis for the upcoming NAGS next Monday, actually. So for those of you out there going,
I didn't even know they updated it because it never changes and they don't know what they're doing anyway. So
yeah, well,
other than part numbers, I have zero use for them.
yeah, see, and hopefully for those of you that have a point of sale system and you ignore what the point of sale system says for the NAGS date, and then you call 2 days later going, the pricing isn't matching anymore, because September 8th, everybody, is when this new NAGS is coming out. So that's next Monday. So for those of you that are traveling to Autoglass Week and you're going to let your people back at the shop know Friday before you leave that that's the case, September 8th. But anyways, we saw that there has been a slight increase, about 5% overall, most windshield parts. Not impressive considering that pricing at the beginning of the year went up 20 to 30% and has stayed in that range. So only getting 5% of that back's not a big deal. At least it's a start. We're really hoping that this really kicks in. We're continuing our dialogue with Mitchell and NAGS to make sure that come January 26th, because that's going to be your next update in 2026 is for that NAGS. So hopefully this encapsulates everything. But the problem is the tariffs keep changing. We don't know what happens. I mean, you get another reprieve for 8 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen in October? So,
it's hard to
whatever.
Circling back to the NAGS update, that's one thing that drives me nuts. Is it doesn't seem like there's any consistency with the networks. Like, let's say I get a job dispatched Sunday night to where I couldn't possibly do it with links. The last time I had one, and the price changed like $400 one way or the other, and it's like, list, and it's like, wait a second. And they said, well, we sent it on Sunday. I go, you sent it Sunday night. But it seems like with SGC, they're usually, like, if it's on that border, they're a little more giving than links. You ever see that on
your side? Or you have to end up fighting for it.
It should be okay. If it's dispatched Sunday night, I don't give a care who it is. This is, you know what I mean? This is the time. Yeah. This is the price on Sunday. Okay, we know we dispatched this on Sunday. There's no way in the world you're doing it Sunday night. We dispatched it at 11:59 p.m. It should fall in the next day, and there's no consistency between the two of them like that. So I'm glad that, in a way, Safe Farm is working away, because, like I said, obviously I'm getting more work from it, and two, they at least, they have some common sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, your mileage may vary for those of you watching out there. You're not going to have what Larry has. And that's a point that I think a lot of people need to understand when they're going in and sitting in this panel. Can the auto glass industry be saved? One of the things to keep in mind is what works for Larry and where he's at in Larry's model. And I'll pick on Dave Leach, who's the CEO of Don's Mobile Glass. So opposite ends of the country. What works for Dave doesn't necessarily mean that works for Larry, and vice versa. And then you've got everybody in between, and Dave's business, Don's Mobile Glass, is way different than Impex, because you guys only deal with auto glass.
That's correct.
Dave's business up there deals with everything that's glass: architectural, home, commercial, auto glass. And then, they've got they own some distribution, I believe, in Salt Lake. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might also be now in Denver or somewhere in Colorado. They've got something there as well. But their size and volume doesn't necessarily mean that translates in there. The thing that I would hope everybody listens to, and I hope the panelists key in on, are the small common things that every shop should be paying attention to. I, for one, can the industry be saved? I don't think it's a matter of the industry has never needed saving. The industry has needed a correction, and it's time for that correction to be due. And hopefully there's being a strategy thing. I'm looking forward to you. Now, I have to ask you this, because this seems to be what people ask a guest. Larry, what will you be wearing on the panel?
Clothes.
Oh, jeez.
Unless we want to clear the room.
So suit and tie, polo. It will be branded with the company name.
I asked, and they said I don't have to wear a suit. So I was like, "Do you want me to wear a suit? I'll wear a suit. I mean, do you want me to bring in my weed vape? I don't know, and blow some smoke signals? Probably not appropriate. And I don't have one anyway, so that you don't have to worry about that. or F
Well,
bombs.
you're in Nevada, so you could probably pick one right up. There's probably a vending machine in the convention center or
Probably
in the
is.
Atlantis. Yeah, you could just drip by, get it done. You could pull a Tony Aquila, which was the Baltimore Autoglass week, where he got up during, I guess that was the keynote that year, and he just was like, I invented this. And then we were all like, really? I don't think so. And he's like, this is how everybody in the next 5 years is going to have medicine dispensed to them. And just like his canoe company exploded or imploded, so is this. He left Solera. He's probably the reason why you never got Link's jobs. He was like, I don't like that Larry guy sitting in the audience, so blacklist that guy right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't know, but you know what? Going back to what you said about what works in one market doesn't work in another. We used to be in Arizona, North Carolina, Missouri, Virginia, brief time in Nevada, and you're right. Like I did a lot of cash work in Missouri. Missouri is not the same as Arizona. Completely different markets, and I think one of the companies with 3 letters found that out pretty hard way is it's not a cash market. At least when I was there, it wasn't a cash market. It might be now, but when you got 0 deductibles, it's not really a cash market. Same as South Carolina.
Yeah.
It's in every market I operated in, it was so much different. And you're right, just because something works for me, but the one thing that's going to work for everybody is you got to get your name out there, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to point fingers at, it's this external force, and to a degree, there always are. Your supplier, insurance companies, the TPAs. Those are not the cause of what a lot of shops go through, but they do have some effect on them, and not everybody bears the full brunt of those effects. So it'll be interesting to see. But my opinion is no, there's no need to save the industry. There is a need to make some major corrections in the industry, and that's going to require shops to realign how they operate, put in some strategic standard operating procedures that nationally align. Because think about it. Well, and this is kind of the joke. You mentioned, a company with 3 letters, and then we also know there's Safe Lane Autoglass, and the whole idea behind those companies is, and even I think Caliber is sponsoring something there. I think that's Troy's doing. Troy is the CEO of Caliber Autoglass. So again, Troy, I'm sure, instills things that are top to down, and he expects it to be every Caliber location you go to. It's just like Novus and Glass Doctor and all of these, that how you operate and the message is the same. But we know that these bigger companies don't always operate that way, but to a degree they do, and that's where smaller auto glass shops need to understand there is some alignment with things that should be common, from one glass shop in Arizona to one glass shop in Missouri to one glass shop like in your neck of the woods. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to seeing at Auto Glass Week other than me? I mean, and that's fine.
Just you and going bowling. That's about it.
Yeah.
What night is that, by the way?
That's Tuesday night, the 9th. Yeah, so you're going to be in a celebrating mode that day. You're going to be gone probably.
Nah.
You're out of there.
No. I was going to fly out. I was going to fly out after I get my award or whatever for retailer or whatever. But I was like, do I really want to fly on September 11th if I don't have to? Probably not.
Yeah, well, the chances of that happening again on that day are slim to none.
No, I understand it, but it's just such a headache to change things. And if I change stuff and then something went south, it's like, oh, I'd feel really stupid.
Yeah. No, you got the end of that day. There's the AGSC. They've got their anniversary party from 6:30 to 9 or something. Again, go look at the schedule. Our bowling is at the Grand Sierra Resort, and that is from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. AirPro and some of our partners, you've got drinks that are sponsored, so come for your beer, your wine, soda, whatever your fancy is. Come on down; those are included from 8 to 11. This isn't one of those like drink for like 30 minutes and then start paying out of your pocket. If you need a couple beers, you're bowling, you're into it, come on down. VIP lanes, these are our lanes in a nice, I call it bougie bowling. Great DJ sets. You've got a pool table, arcade games in there. They're all free. All you have to do is show up. svpiga.org/Reno. A few spots are still left. Keep in mind, not everybody's showing up and going to be bowling between 8 and 11. And I realize that some of you will be going to some other events, dinner with your suppliers or whatnot ahead of time. Drop on in anytime between 8 and 11. If you didn't RSVP, if we're at capacity, you'll just have to wait for somebody to come out. They'll get you in. But those of you that do RSVP, you'll have the wristbands. You'll get the IGA swag bags and all that happy fun stuff. So come on down. It's a cool deal. Because swag, dude. Like, it's the Academy Awards. We're throwing in Rolexes and 1-year lease with Maseratis and Ferraris and stuff. Get you one of those Dolce and Gabbana like swimsuits that you could have worn. Who knows? Yeah, but yeah, just drop on in. It's good stuff. And yeah, I'll tell you the one thing that I'm looking forward to at Autoglass Week is 2 p.m. on Thursday. So that's when the trade. That's breakdown and I'm out of there. Yeah, because I'm my schedule's already booked, and a lot of people want to come by the booth. We're going to be recording some podcasts while we're there, and it's just crazy. There's just so many things going on, and I'm not even talking. I know James Chapman, he covers all of the tech stuff and the Olympics and stuff. So you got all that going on. I don't have anything to do with that, but I have plenty of other things that the shops are wanting to meet with me on. So that'll be interesting.
So y'all do have a booth at this one?
Yeah, we were graciously provided one by, I guess it's the Autoglass Safety Council. It was Jacques who reached out and said, hey, the IGA can have a booth since you're a not-for-profit. We're very grateful we got one, and we're going to be there. So
cool. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm going to wear at the booth. Something very patriotic.
In the desert, you can predict the forces of nature, but some forces arrive with a power all their own. A powerful force is rolling across the desert to Reno this September. This force is focused, relentless, and ready to get down to business. Celebrating 30 years as the oldest Autoglass association in the industry, the wait is almost over. Stronger together on a whole new level. Join the force this September 9th to the 11th at Autoglass Week in Reno, Nevada. For 30 years, we've stood united. For the future, we stand stronger. This is the Independent Glass Association. Stronger together on a whole new level.
Lots of LEDs. You won't know which pronoun to use for me. And I do have to stay close to my pronoun that is on my name tag. But other than that, I was looking for the dress code, and I'm not sure that there is one. So I found some cool things on Temu, and yeah.
Pay the tariff.
Yeah, well, it was an extra $25 for something that was 38 cents, and I feel some of it may stay on, some of it may come apart, just moving and talking to somebody, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Larry, and whoever is going to be on your panel. I'm sure they're going to have, I don't know if you're all going to have a mic or you're going to have to fight over a mic, but I am hoping, because I need to win some bets here, that you hog a majority of the mic time. There is at least 2 slips of the F word. We are hoping that there's no C or other word that might have to do with anything on that side, because then I'm just watching my money move up and down. But since we're in Nevada, it's legal.
Now, Is there any bets on the audience saying that to me?
So this is the tough part, man. I honestly don't know where the line's going to be drawn, because last year there was a panel up talking. It was an 8-ass panel, and all of a sudden a few people in the audience got the microphone, and.
But I think the question I think a lot of people want to ask and they're not going to ask is, what makes you guys experts? Right? Are you out there in the field? Are you doing calibrations daily? Do you see the changes? You know, are you just reading something? You know, what is the definition of an expert? And I'm not attacking anybody here, but you know, people want to know this. Like, you guys are up here answering questions. I'll be honest, we're a little bored. You know, it's slow. You know, no one's making. You know, it's like we just talked about the same question 4 different times. We're still on environmental conditions. But I think realistically, you know, for you to hand me a certification, a piece of paper, what's your certification? Because, you know, you went to some place with a manufacturer and told you this is what you're supposed to do. But realistically, if you're not out there doing this every day and constantly, you know, adapting to the changes that we experience from manufacturers, from getting into, you know, the updates with just say Chrysler like a couple weeks ago, auto changing, and all these things, like, how are you going to sit up here and tell us, you know, what goes on? And I'm not, like, I'm really not attacking anybody. I just feel like, you know, you really have to have real experience to be considered an expert, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys in this room here that do a lot of calibrations, and they should be sitting up here answering these questions. But, you know, I guess it's a gray area, kind of like indoor, outdoor. You know, we can shrink targets, but we can't do it outside. And, you know, I guess that's all I really wanted to say, but I would love to hear what everybody has to think about that.
Good question. So we're going to go down the panel, and I want everybody to explain what made them an expert. What I think.
So I figure there's people going to be in the audience this year that are just wanting to see how much further they can push that from last year. And again, being in Nevada, betting's legal. I am sure that there is a line that's going to be on there to see who grabs the microphone. And I'm pretty sure at this point, some of the controversial ones, the person with the microphone is going to be having explicit instructions on who not to give the microphone to.
Yes.
So it's going to have to be, if you're one of those people thinking, how do I get around maybe some of these rules or strategies they're doing, have a, what do they call it? A shill. Have somebody who's a plant that looks innocent,
right.
gonna just be asking like, oh, hey, and then you grab the microphone from them and say, Larry, you're the guy who drops the F-bomb. You only did it once. Heart's out some money. What makes you an expert to be on this panel? Damn, all you care about is neon signs and trash cans. That's it. What's going on, Larry? And then, you know, then you're like,
go F yourself.
and then I make my money and I take you out for a vegan mushroom steak, bro.
It's like I was somewhere and my kid says, they're going to throw us out and we'll never be allowed to come back. And I said, please, don't ever let me come back. No, but just seriously, I like going these things and seeing a lot of my friends. So
yeah, I mean,
they may not claim me, but I claim a lot of people. I like a lot of
yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of people that are just going to show up. They just want to give you some crap, not necessarily during your panel, but you know, you have to. First of all, are you going to have any kind of security or bodyguards to get you up to the dais and then away from the dais, or you're just going to be like, I'm rolling, bro. Don't.
Bro.
Okay, yeah. I thought about needing some protection this year, but got back on the TRT.
Yeah,
mine's just like, yeah, let's be angry at everybody, and yeah. But no, I kid. Maybe I do.
think everybody's settled down now these days. I think get along with most folks.
No, because if you notice on social media, some people that were on hiatus or I don't know, quit certain groups and whatnot, they're back. And this happens every year. It's cyclical. I started, you know, AI tells me a lot of things and they're like, they're all back. Look. And it's like, why do they come back during Autoglass week? There's so many other better times of the year to come back. Why now? Like, you know, so we'll see. This will be, these shows are always interesting just to see from the dynamics of, are there new people to talk to, new people to see? being on the West Coast this time, I'm not sure my expectations are any different than the East Coast. We'll see. But I will give my analysis and take during the show. Like I said, we'll
I'm partial to
stuff.
Tennessee. I really had them there.
But yeah, that's your neck of the woods. You're partial to your backyard. I mean, that's nice.
No, it's just more fun. I don't like anywhere I can't travel to direct. If I can fly there direct, I don't really have any use to go there. I'm going to go to Vegas first because you can't fly to Reno direct. I'm not flying to Atlanta. The hell with that airport. They could pay me money. I wouldn't fly through Atlanta. So
yeah, no, I know.
Get there.
Hey, I'm in Phoenix, and there were 2 options for a direct flight. Everything else had you going to LAX. They had you going to San Francisco. They had you going to Denver. So I could just imagine that. Let me fly the opposite way, and then let me come back a couple time zones. It was just Reno's not really on the map. When I visited back in the beginning of July to set up our events and whatnot, I drove up there because I was like, by the time I go through TSA, do all this stuff, or have to go through cities, I'm already there, and I got a vacation. I got to see Yosemite out of it, or Yellowstone, or I don't know, one of them, whatever the hell's in California.
Ride in the back of a pickup from one of my haters from your area up there.
Yeah, they would. Those guys aren't going to pick me up. They're going to be like, "Oh, Hart, just drive. You go on your own. Here's a Greyhound ticket. Good luck." It's one of those. You would think, so it's funny you bring that up. I'm right here in Phoenix, and a lot of these guys that are group admins and things like that, I keep saying, anytime you want to drop in, you know how to reach me. At the same time, I'm like, hey, I know where to find you. I'm going to come in and like, don't come see me. Don't do that. And it's like, well, okay, I don't know what the big deal is. If you wanted to get on a podcast, you wanted to talk, you just want to talk mano a mano, let's do it. But I don't know, man. A lot of people just, they have the shell, whatever. It's just like, I look how many hours have I driven to come see you when I'm out there at Zuzu's place.
You've actually come to see me more than anybody, and I don't even spend money with you.
Well, I don't.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a neon sign to give to you. That's what it is. If I had something that was like a bust of me and it said IGA underneath or something, you'd be like, oh, Hart, I need one of those. And then you'd be like, hey, but I'm not. I keep giving. I just want a Sika hat, and you would think that I would be able to get one easily. And here you have your whole hallways lit with this giant neon sign for Sika. That's crazy, man.
Well, what happened is I seen a picture. One of my guys sent me a picture from something to distribute, and I go, wait a second, what the hell is that? Where the hell is mine at? And I just jokingly called my rep and said, hey, you fat bastard, where's my damn Sika sign from my office? And he says, oh, I gave mine away. That's the way you're looking at it. And I said, that's not the answer. I need a damn sign. And Todd Twist came through for me.
See, right there, that bastard would have gotten me $25 on the line. So I'm happy that already I could be making money on this. I might even go back and review some of the bet lines right now and add some. I'm feeling good about this, Larry.
And just for full disclosure, me and my rep talk like crazy to each other. It's nothing against fat people. He calls me fat boy. He likes the abuse. The first time he called me, my wife says, I told my wife, I said, you're going to need to leave the room. She says, why? I said, oh, that's before I got married. I said, you might not want to marry me after you hear the way I talk to this guy, because he likes to be talked to like he's an idiot. And I love the guy to death. And, it's just like boys shooting crap. So it's fun. I like a rep. I like a good rep, and I got an amazing rep, and I'm going to hate it when he retires.
Well, yeah, it's just like in the Righteous Gemstones. We're just joking. It's jokes. We're pranking one another.
Yeah.
I think that was first or second season. The car flipped over. The guy was dead. He's like telling his wife, pranks. He's alive. It's a prank. Just joking. No big deal.
Great show, too.
Yeah. Sad that had to come to an end. But, it's kind of funny because I often think that there could be an Autoglass show like on Netflix or slightly off Netflix, like Tubi or something. I don't even know if that's a deal anymore. But I think it would be entertaining. I definitely think you would be high on that cast list. You'd be up there. Controversial people. I've written most of it. I've got you up there, second, third. There's some other people that I think are more polarizing than you. They're not going to make me money on BetMGM, but they'll get me there one way or the other. So, well, Larry, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I think it's the other way around. I think you were like, Hart, I need to get out and tell these people to come see me. My vanity is so important. Can you get a podcast out quick? And I'm like, Larry, for you, I will interrupt my life. I will drop everything I'm doing and I will get you on right now, bro.
I'll see if I can get you one of them Sika hats. I know they're easy to get now a fiber stick.
No, I don't need any fiber sticks. I've got a collection of fiber sticks.
I got plenty of them too.
Yeah,
plenty of fiber sticks and plenty of hats.
Yeah, but the hat.
I got a regular hat. I got neon
Mike
sign.
Stevens, he hooked me up a couple years ago with a cool sports deal that wicks off the sweat when I work out. But I've beat the hell out of that. And I'm just thinking, a hat is going to keep the sweat off of me, and I could still promote and look like I'm out in the sun all day. So that would be a really positive.
Nice hats. You should get one.
Are they? See, that just makes me even more angry that I can't get one. Like all these guys with Sika, I'm with them all the time, all over the place. Think they'd give me a hat. Gary Duncan Rimbley or whatever, he's up there in Colorado. He's got like 9 hats. He's like almost on Facebook every day going, check out my hat. And then he's like, art. No, just because you work for Novus doesn't mean you use SRP. And now I'm going to hear a bunch of crap for that, but that's true. And I visit enough of those stores too and see that.
That just shows you how dumb I am. I don't keep up with anybody. If you know.
No, Larry, it's free enterprise. You sign some paperwork, you pay some royalty fees, and then you use what you feel you need to use. I don't know. Again, allegedly, I don't know for sure. But I always joke with the Sika guys. Come on, guys, it's just glue. At the end of the day, why is everybody hating in the glue area? It's just glue and not that important, really, is it? I mean,
East Coast, West Coast rivalry. People are like really one or the other, and if you switch teams,
yeah, well, it's just like ADAS calibration. It's just also ADAS calibration outside, and I don't know. I'd say the majority of social media posts I see by glass companies now are advertising and showing calibration happening outdoors all day long, and I feel the tension. Some of the people in our industry that aren't fans of that at all. Just, and I'm like, I know right now they see this because what is that one guy? Otis or somebody? Is the Jamaican guy who's doing he has a spliff and he's like, yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. If you're just gonna have somebody out there chopping glass, no shame. He puts the ads out there, and he's moved into my top 5, Larry. He almost bumped some of you out, but he looks like he's starting to actually get a technique and a hang of being an Autoglass technician now. So kudos to him for hearing the feedback, but also blocking the haters at the same time. And he still holds true to some of me, like sitting there and like somebody will reach in with a bong, he takes a hit, and he's like right back at it, and I'm like, that guy right there. He's going to be in the center of a lawsuit one day, and he's going to be like, Your Honor, I don't know. Wasn't me. It's not me. That's AI. AI.
Yeah, that AI.
AI
is ridiculous.
Yeah. So you don't even know that you're talking. I'm not even Gary. You're talking to AI Gary right now. That's how good VO is. I mean, run this through deep think.
Is AI Gary also vegan?
No, the bacon to the ends of the earth, man. Yeah, you want to like over there, bacon over here, like kale and kale bacon. The bacon eats the kale, and then the kale. Anyway, I will see you, Larry, next week in Reno. Safe travels out there, and anything closing you'd like your fans to know about your 9 to 10:15 a.m. and the Autoglass industry be saved?
Everybody needs to get their ass there. There's no reason to miss this. You've been waiting 30 years to hear what I had to say. Not even that you care. If you've been waiting 30 years to troll me, get your ass in a seat.
Again, the reason for the dress code is I feel there may be someone, I don't know who, that shows up in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle outfit as one of your cast characters. I don't know this to be true. I'm not planting any seeds, wink, wink, to anybody who's out there. But if you wanted to have a little fun with Larry, I think this would be the panel to do it, because Larry's gonna have to sit up on the dais and look out. There you are, dressed, and Larry's just not. You're gonna throw Larry's game off, and then you wanted to hear what Larry had to say about saving the industry or not saving the industry, and he'll just the whole time, and then maybe he melts down, and I make even more bank on Bet MGM. We'll see. But Larry, thank you for taking your time out this evening. Appreciate it as always, and we'll see each other next week.
You, Gary. I always enjoy talking to you. You're very, very good.
Yeah, I practice with AI a lot, and I think that's what matters. Because who else is going to originate in this industry? Everybody else just duplicates, and you know that feeling. So, all right, man. Well, take care.
See everybody at my panel that I'm on, and
damn, now it's your panel. You just claimed ownership on the panel. Oh, I love that.
Larry,
no, man.
He claims everything.
I now know the headline for this podcast: Larry's panel at Autoglass Week.
I'm gonna get signs. I'm gonna get signs and just stick it over there. Just Larry's panel.
Yeah. Well, and then everybody's name placard: Larry.
Yeah,
and my other brother, Larry.
Daryl. Yep.
All right, man. Well, take care. We'll see you next week, Larry.
Have a good one, brother.
All right.
Introducing AirPro Diagnostics' revolutionary calibration technology, Auggie. AirPro Diagnostics' latest innovation is a game changer in forward-facing camera ADAS calibrations. Auggie is a wireless compact device that allows you to calibrate vehicles anywhere. AirPro has created a theater-like environment to digitize and miniaturize static ADAS targets and present them to the forward-facing camera exactly as required by vehicle manufacturers. Find out how required calibrations can be simplified. Order your Auggie today.